I'm Chris Chernishek, joined Ropseco be exactly 1 year ago. And with that, the Ropseco is very specializing in corn and knows corn very well. They've asked me to help with bring sorghum product line to the lineup here in South Texas because that's a crop that would be important for our rotation and also an opportunity to help grow the business on the Ropseco side. We are going to start with a medium maturity, 6446. And before I go any further, let me just address the three basics of these three commercials that we're going to talk about this morning. That way we can get that covered, and all three of them are the same in this particular area. The three commercial varieties, all of them are going to be a bronze seed color. They're just going to be bronze. They're also going to have a moderate head exertion, somewhere between 4 and 6 inches of their head exertion. Now this year, and like everybody else experienced, that they're maybe not be seeing the full expression of what their varieties have been able to do on a good year. This plot suffered early, stayed dry for a long time, like most of y'all's crops did here this past season. But then we caught the rains, and now we're seeing actually are very fortunate to have had a crop that we've got right now. And it looks really good. All the sorghum and corn, and considering the conditions that we're in, look really well and strong. So congratulations everybody on that area, and hopefully we'll have a good finish by getting it all in. But back to the head exertion, all of them are going to be in that 4 to 6 inch range of a head exertion, and all of them are going to have a high tolerance to the sugarcane aphid. Again, these are all the group of varieties that we've got in here, including our experimentals. We're going to focus on having high tolerance to the sugarcane aphid. And with that being said, I've been able to watch a few fields, and even in the high tolerance varieties, we're finding plants that have sugarcane aphid in them. So be sure and keep that in mind as you get to harvest. Might want to check it one more time before you harvest it, because there will likely be aphids in there, because they have been there the whole season, even in the high tolerant varieties. After those three characteristic traits, we start kind of getting into some separations of the varieties. 6446 is a medium maturity. It is one that has already Ropseco had in their lineup. It's not going to call it old, but it's one of the first ones that they had for South Texas. And Ellen, when he had for the last couple of years, has planted this one, has had it out and about in the area. You likely have seen it. It's a good open-headed type, which is what I prefer. An open head type, semi-open head type is my preference. But we've got a lot of different head types going on right now in the industry. But this one goes back to where we've been trying to get to, and we'd like to continue having a variety that would have that open head type like this one does. It's a short stature plant. Even on a good year, when the moisture conditions have been right, you're still not going to get it very much higher than your hip. Again, this one that more open head types, people think that sometimes you won't get the yield, won't pack in there as good. This one you'll be real pleased with it. Again, with this high sugarcane aphid tolerance, which is what it was really known for, actually has continued to really hold itself really well. Positioning wise, we would want to take this one at Highway 77 going west, traveling all the way west of Alice and 281. It's got the drought tolerance, the ability to be able to adapt in that area primarily. And it can also go east, but we've got varieties that would be better, we feel, suited to go to the eastern side of Highway 77, 6446. The next two are going to be newcomers to the lineup based off of yield performance, yield data, not so much appearance. This particular variety, 6517, is a medium maturity. And by the way, the first two numbers of our numbering system represent the days to bloom, and that will give you an idea of just where the maturities will be. You add 45 to 50 more days to that, and that gets you in that area where you're going to expect it to mature. But this is a good medium maturity in that maturity range. This particular variety, I've put it everywhere out west of 281 in the dry land. I'm putting it as far east as the Petronila and the Chapman Ranch area. In the valley, I'm expecting it to work everywhere, even on limited irrigation, because a medium maturity to me is going to have to do all those things. And what that does is minimize the amount of lineup and profile portfolio lineups in our sorghums. We are really going to be focusing on 3 maturities in our lineup and having 3 varieties to answer to that: a medium early, a medium, and a medium fulls. You just left the 6446, that's a medium maturity. Here's 6517. We're trying to decide. We're going to decide this year, or maybe in the next couple of years, to see which one of these are going to be, we're going to position. And again, the medium maturities for me are going to have to work everywhere in the coastal bend, dryland, and even under favorable dryland conditions. Medium plant height will be very similar to 6446, even though the head type is a semi-compact. Even want to probably go as far as saying compact. One that I really I don't prefer. I would prefer a more open head type, but again, we went with this one because based on its performance and the yield monitor and what it does. It is very consistent on how it performed in the data that was provided to me. So we went ahead and when I look at this one, it's still not set in stone, but we did give it a commercial number, and it's 6517 with the semi-compact head going across all over the coastal bend. The disease packages on these, the 6446 may give up a little ground in that area, but how often do we get into a disease issue where if that does happen, then 6517 and the variety coming up will be one that we can be using for whenever we have a disease package, which is usually a need on when we have late range like we have right now. 7154, 71 day to bloom. Maturity classified as a medium full. Now this one is going to need to be staying in that from about where we are right now at Farm Road 666 going east, and we are expecting this one to be holding its position in that type of environment. And this one will go on irrigated in the valley. It's going to travel all the way to the upper coast. I'm really excited about how this one is looking. We got a field of it there just outside of Kingsville, between Kingsville and Bishop off of Highway 77, that it's planted, and it looks really, it's getting better and better. These rains are doing exactly what we would hope that a late maturity variety would do. And all companies have got late season varieties, some really good top enders. What we got to have out of a late season is one that will hang in tough early. And we had just those conditions this year where we were able to get it up, and then we were just really battling hoping for some rain, just a tenth here or 2 there. And this particular trial, you're going to find, I think that the late season ones, and let's keep that in mind, that when we see the yield data, which way, if it's not going to be a late season variety, that's going to end up really maybe topping the plot, because if it is, then that particular variety and those that did that are late season, they got put to the test in this particular trial. I'm real pleased how this one is looking. It generally is taller than what you're going to find it in the plot as you come. If you do a drive-by, the 7154 usually to me is about rib high, maybe even chest high on ideal conditions. We're seeing it up in the upper coast where it's chest high to me and has a really good looking top end yield potential. I would give the head type more of a semi-open to semi-compact, but more semi-open, and it looked like it's going to be stacking it in there really well. Has a good extra uniqueness of its package for disease as far as fusarium. And we don't see fusarium every year here, but we've been seeing some pockets around Driscoll and Bishop, and so this may be one that would fit right in that area. Anxious to see this one travel east and here in the coastal bend, but about from where we are going east is where it would need to go. And I feel that like this one is going to be one that we'll keep for a while, like the way it looks, and we're going to get a good look at it on some irrigated and some good high yield potential soils there in that upper coast area. Our experimentals, they're also numbered very similar to what we just left. The first 2 numbers will give you your days to bloom. The 6621 of the 3 experimentals is shaping up to be one of my favorites. The 6621 and the 6884 are both medium maturities. The 6884 may be getting closer to that medium full, but these 2 are going to be competing for the positions of the 2 mediums that we've got in the lineup right now that we just talked about, the 6446 and the 6517. I think, and I feel really favorable, and we're just going to have to wait to see what the combine monitor says, but the 6621 shows lots of promise. It's strong, looking well in McCook in the dryland, in Willacy County in the dryland. We take it to the coastal bend. That's where we're most interested in making sure we've got a good solid medium. This is a good solid medium. The head type is going to be your semi-open head type. Plant health is strong. There may be some real possibilities with this one. I'll look forward to seeing what the combine's going to do. You may end up seeing it with a GS number next year. 6884, interesting uniqueness about this variety. Also, it could go to that medium full to medium, but it's got we just stumbled across it. Anybody who claims that they've got an iron chlorosis tolerant variety would have just happened to run across it accidentally, because I know the companies, the breeders, even though try as they may, they always have a hard time trying to breed just for iron chlorosis. They can do that, but they give up too much yield, and so we really don't know. This one, we noticed it in Allen's plot there on Condena Farms, and from the time it came up, and it's a real yellow, iron chlorotic, high pH in that particular spot. And when you get to those, I think it was, Alan, 8 rows or so that we had planted there to the row, either side. The varieties planted as competitors on both sides of it were yellow, showing the high pH weakness. This one was showing strong. So we're, with that, and hopefully with the combination of yield, we may have something with that. I'm not saying that it is yet. We've got to first find out more, test it more in that area where there is more high pH soils. The 7054 is going to be our medium full, and it's going to have to be better than 7154. I'm sorry, I said 7054, 7045 without looking at it, but that's our full season, medium full variety for the position of a full season, and everything that we talked about. So our focus as Rob Seco and with the sorghum portfolio is to keep it simple, keep it small, don't let it get too big. We have, Lord knows, we've got plenty of corns that we have to cipher through and go through. Al and I are going to spend and have been spending a lot of time studying, walking the fields, making sure we know, because our big button for us is to position it and to position the right varieties in the right place. We both agree on plant populations, and we have to make sure we have the right varieties for that. So the 7045 is going to be one that is competing for a medium full position.
So I just wanted to say a piece real quick about the sorghum and Rob Seco's approach to sorghum from a farmer standpoint, and some of the things that I appreciate as a farmer that they're doing, and then not only just listening to people in the area, Chris and myself, and including us as well as our other BAs from Central Texas down to the Valley, and some of the decision-making process of these sorghums, getting local input, not just trusting data on a sheet or somebody on the plains to tell them how it's going to do in South Texas. One of the big things here is we wanted a simple approach to sorghum, especially. And like Chris was saying, we're obviously going to carry a few mediums, a few medium fulls, and we're hoping to dwindle that down. We would like to just have one. We might have two, I guess, of a particular maturity, but we just want to keep it simple. We want a few hybrids that work. They did this last year. They came out with flat pricing on the sorghum. Every variety was the same price. Every variety has a high level of aphid tolerance. We're trying to address some issues for people when they grow sorghum, just based on feedback from farmers. Why is this so complicated? Why do you have 20 different sorghums I need to decide between every year? And why am I worried about the aphid as long as we've been battling this and the breeders have been battling this? And so we're going to continue to work to simplify even more. But when somebody comes to my farm and they say, I've got 2 or 3 varieties that work for you across the acres, and they're this price, and they've all got aphid tolerant, to me that's that's laying it out. That answers a lot of my initial questions to the salesman, and I'm appreciative of Rob Seco for doing that, and hopefully we continue down this path and get this in place for all the farmers. And so I just wanted to, I guess, give my perspective on that and how they're approaching it. You know, the last thing we needed down here was another company trying to bring in 25 or 30 sorghums and just you know, overcomplicate the system, I guess. This plot right here is enormous every year when you look at all the companies and all the varieties, and we're hoping to start simplifying this and just doing a nice, easy business.
And at this point, we are done with the Rob Seco presentation. Thank you very much, and y'all have a good day.